Hey guys, it's Seb and
Altair.
we're here for part one of our epic world dive.
Yeah, that's the best word for it.
Because they couldn't have been real places. They just couldn't have been. So we make it out of that cavern that we're in. And we come across a fork in the road that's literally two arches.
Mm-hmm.
And in one arch we can see this gorgeous bright forest. And in the other there's a tundra. And in one arch there's this little wisp staring at us, if they can stare.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a wolf. And we're just like, those don't mesh.
Right? Just not at all.
Not 5 feet away from each other with only an archway splitting them apart.
Yeah, so portals. We have hit portals in this crazy adventure.
Yep. And I'm like, okay, Caesar, which way do you want to go?
And I roll my eyes and I'm like, Zoom clearly wants to go for the wisp if we're looking for Cycronert, because, you know.
I'm like, yeah, dreamlike. That makes sense. So we're like, all right, off to the forest. I finally got my way. You know, other than that one time with the forest full of eyes.
This was a much brighter forest.
It was. This is actually a much happier, in general, thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, if we could have just stopped the adventure there, I think we would have all been happy.
Yeah, we would have. So we go through the portal, and here we are in this lovely green forest. It's actually super warm and happy. I'm like, this is the best thing that's happened to us so far, and it's just stepping into a forest.
No creepy shadows, no creepy ravens, no freezing winds. Everything's just nice and just warm and comfortable.
Yeah, it was great.
And you know what? I think I didn't feel hungry for like the first time the whole trip.
Actually, right after we got out of that cavern, a lot of your hunger faded quite a bit.
Yeah, it did.
I don't think you blood furied again.
I think you're right. Maybe he was really mad at me.
Yeah, or maybe you just broke his hold over you.
One of the two, whichever one. I'm not going to complain.
Nope. So here we are in this lovely forest. Sunbeams, gorgeous, it's great. And we can kind of see like a burnt shrine off to the right. And then the little wisp is in front of us being like, hey, follow me. And, you know, we'd said we wanted to find Cycronert, so we kind of thought maybe Cycronert sent this to us.
Yeah, I mean, wisps are kind of, you know, they kind of match with the whole, like, sparkly thing that she has going.
Yeah, it was as good a guess as anyone's, right? Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, off to the wisp we go. And we're following it. It's actually a really nice walk.
It was so peaceful, and I mean, like, Zoom was totally dozing off in the lantern.
I was starting to, like, daydream, and I'd been terrified up until this point.
Oh, yeah, I was just like, could have just laid down for another nap, and we'd just gotten up for the day.
Exactly. It was really good. I actually don't know how long we walked. There might have been a little more of that time manipulation involved.
Ugh, you know, the more you say that, the more I think you were correct, and we were out for weeks.
Yeah. So we're walking, and then we heard something that just tugged in my heartstrings because I was bleeding from the heart so much.
I mean, it's not just you. I heard it too, and I was like, well, hell.
We have to go at least check and make sure everything's fine.
Yeah.
And so there's this little whimpering sound, and we wander to follow it.
And, you know, the wisp is going in the same general direction, so, you know, we're clearly going the right way.
Thankfully, the wisp actually was going in the general direction. It took us to this big tree.
And at the base of this tree was this tiny, tiny puppy. Like, couldn't even see puppy.
Yeah, like, it couldn't open its eyes. It was so young. And at which point, I'm like, where's its mom?
Yeah, because there's no tracks. I sniffed around. There's no scent.
Yeah, I tried my best to do some tracking, and it was nothing. There was an abandoned puppy.
And, you know, I mean, we literally just had this conversation about Zoom. We couldn't just abandon a puppy.
And yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this is going to turn out to be some horrible dark spirit. But what if on the off chance it's not?
Yeah, and then we're responsible for this puppy, you know, becoming the next Zoom.
Yeah, that was really all up in our heads. So I was like, you know what? We'll just empty out the rest of the rations from one of my saddlebags, and we'll put the puppy in there. It's just a little more weight. It's nothing for me. I'll carry it the whole way.
Yeah, be fine. What's one more thing to take care of?
No, it's whatever. We'll find it food. We'll find it something, it can eat soon enough. And so we approach it, and we're just trying to be careful and cautious because we're worried about startling the little thing. And we managed to get up there and just carefully nuzzle it to make sure it's okay. Now let's have the sweetest little sound.
Like the cutest little puppy noises you've ever heard.
And then we learned it's not a puppy.
Yeah, that was... I think I might have had a heart attack in that moment.
Yeah, but, however, we did run into number 2 on the list.
Oh, only number 2 because,
Our main man.
Our main man.
Yeah. So, the puppy turned out to be Aga, the 3rd deity we met, who was significantly better than every other one we'd met at this point.
Why couldn't we have had Aga as our guide? I feel like it would have meant so much better.
Yeah, I wish I'd had Aga, and I wish you'd had Nagrut. That would have suited us.
Yes. Oh, he is the god of hunts. That's right.
Yeah, see, you could have had your adventure, and we didn't have to be terrified the entire time.
Damn it.
Yeah. So it turns into Aga, and Aga is a wonderful sweetheart as long as you're not murdering Forrest.
Mm-hmm. Which, no intense.
Yeah. So she just turned on all the charm, and she was just like, "Oh, my dears, how lovely of you to take pity on those who need it. The kindness that we all should have."
And God, it was like...
It's like honey on your ears. It's great.
I wanted to cry because it was just so nice after all the rest of the bullshit.
Someone just said, "Good job, guys."
Almost tears. Almost tears.
Mm-hmm. So she gave us a flower. You know what? It's a blessing from the nature goddess, and it's a flower. We took the flower.
Technically, it was a rose.
Yeah, it was
Very pretty.
really good. So she gives us the flower, and then she goes, "Be careful on your trips. You will come across many more portals before you make it to the Shrine of Ipak." And we're like, "We're going to the shrine? Is that what we're doing?"
Because that's the first time anybody's told us.
And she sighs, and she goes, "Oh, and the dark spirits think they stand a chance when they can't even explain their own game. Yes, my dears, go off to the shrine. Your best bet is when the next portal, follow the wolf."
Seemed reasonable enough at the time, and it was more direction than we'd gotten.
Yeah, and we're like, "Thank you. We will follow the wolf."
So, man.
I know. And so we took our flower, our rose, and we put it away. And then, I don't think Caesar wanted to leave her, but we had to take him to Sikranurk. We had to take him to Sikranurk. Turned out Aga had our back the whole way. Told us the right place to go, and even gave us something we could use later that we didn't know we really needed yet.
Mm-hmm. I think she would have just taken Zoom in the moment if she could have, but obviously that wasn't in their plan.
No. We don't blame her for what we learned later.
Exactly.
Number 2 on the list. Yes.
Hands down.
Mm-hmm. And so we moved on out of the forest, and sure enough, we ran into another set of archways. And this one had the wolf, and then it had, what was the rest of it? Scary dark forest. And we were like, "No, ma'am."
And freezing mountainside.
Also, "No, ma'am. We're gonna follow the wolf."
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. She told us to. We're doing it. We're actually doing what we're told, not out of fear.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. At which point, it's off through the portal to this, tundra.
Yeah, it's familiar enough.
Yeah, it's not like crazy storming.
Nope. Pretty mild day. Good hunting weather.
Great hunting weather, actually. And as we come through, we can see the wolf, and then we can see a village. And we're looking at that village, and I'm like, I know that we would usually be tempted by food and warmth and all of that, but, nope.
She said follow the wolf, so we're going to follow the wolf.
Also, last village is not human. Nearly got us killed by Borga.
That is true, too. We did not forget that part.
No, we did not forget that at all. So, off against the wolf we go. And it's actually a pretty nice trip.
Oh, yeah, it was really pleasant. Just good day. Like, if I had seen, a herd to hunt, totally would have done that.
Yeah, we totally would have gone after the herd. And I think the wolf might even rejoined us. This place was infectious.
Oh, my God. It was such good energy.
Mm-hmm. Even Caesar seemed excited.
Zoom seemed excited.
Caesar was highly excited.
Ugh. Anyway, so the wolf kind of led us up into like these hills.
Yeah, but they weren't too bad. It was actually like kind of a fun climb for once.
Yeah, it was like not too steep, not too crazy, just pleasant.
Just enough of a challenge to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
So up we go, these cliffs, and then the weird thing happened.
Yeah, the wolf just kept walking out into air.
It jumped off a cliff.
Like full tilt running off a cliff with no hesitation.
And I looked at Altair and went, oh, what now?
And okay, so I will admit this is kind of on brand for me. So Aga said follow the wolf. So I kind of shrugged at Seb and just started running to jump off the cliff.
And I ran after him to stop him from jumping off the cliff.
But as we know, who's faster? I'm faster.
So off the cliff he went. And then he didn't fall.
It was kind of weird, like I was just running on the air.
And then if he didn't fall, then I shouldn't fall, right?
It seemed logical enough.
So I jumped. And then I didn't fall.
It was pretty great. But
And-
then we didn't really know what to do.
Nope. And then the wolf turned into an eagle and started soaring away. So we followed it. That still counted as following the wolf.
Yeah, the wolf turned into an eagle. We followed the eagle.
Yeah. An eagle flew. And you know what? This was actually stupidly fun.
Oh my god, it was like, I don't know how fast we were going, but it felt like we were running like as fast as the wind.
Yeah, and around us there's all these big rock pillars are just coming out of this mist, so it's not like you can see the ground below and just be terrified. It was just stupidly fun. And we're running between all these pillars, following the eagle, and then the eagle like it swoops up a little bit and we find ourselves on this little updraft and up we go.
And then, yeah, this guy's amazing.
Yes, he is. He really is. He's number 3 on our list of deities.
And he's only number 3. Well, you'll see.
Yeah, you'll understand in a minute. I actually do a really good impression of this one.
Oh, it's so good.
So, the eagle lands on antlers.
Like huge antlers, like the size of Seb.
Yeah. And we kind of start not flying. However, we're kind of more like gliding down into a kind of rough landing. But there we are at the feet of Nagruk.
Yeah. The coolest looking god ever.
Yeah. He is giant and he kind of goes between like this goldeny color and white.
Just, and such a good-natured guy. Oh my god, if all the gods had been like this, it would have been so much better for us.
And then he says to us, and he just looks down at us, and you can feel him smiling, even though he doesn't really smile a lot. And he's just like, oh, well done. Those places rules don't always work how you'd expect. But you had confidence in yourself. Throw yourself over that ledge and you could face anything. You're ready. At which point I went, wait, what? And he goes, oh, yeah. I mean, only those who believe they can fly will fly.
Which, you know, I didn't think too much of, because this guy, yet again, just like Aga, had been like, good job. And, oh, you don't know how good that was to, you know, hear.
I had a moment of panic because I realized that I could have plummeted to my death. If Altair had not got off that cliff first, I did not have confidence I could fly.
Huh. Ooh. That would have been unfortunate.
Yeah, it would have. I don't think he was trying to kill us, though. I mean, he did make the wolf jump first.
That's true. He proved that we could fly. So,
Yeah. So then Altair starts asking about our quest.
yeah, because, you know, I'm like, hey, we've got this little Zoom buddy here. We're trying to find Sick. How do we find Sick? Can you help? Can you take us to her?
And then he turns around and he's like, oh, well, I can't take you to Sick. That wouldn't necessarily be fair. But I will definitely help you as best I can on your trip. This is a very easy travels. You're almost to the end. Everything should be fine. You just got to make it through one more place and straight to the end you'll go.
Which, you know, is pretty, you know, confidence inspiring to us, because, you know, that's just one more of these things. These ones have been way better than Borga's Death Mountain or Sivo's Creepy Forest.
There goes one small problem though. If you go through the wrong door, you'll be stuck going through a lot of wrong doors till you get back to the right door. So make sure you go through the right door when you get there.
And, you know, seems reasonable enough. So we ask, well, how do we know what the right door is?
Aye, it's an easy trip. It's a very easy trip. All you got to do is you see those pillars over there, you head to those pillars, keep flying. Tired of the third one, know the fourth one. You've gone to the fourth one, you've gone far too far. You've got to come back to the third one. At which point, we really should have realized there was something just slightly up because his head kind of twitched and looked after a flock of geese. And this is the god of the hunt. So he definitely had this next hunt on the mind. We don't fault him for this. He's a god of hunt.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure I've had this look in my eye before, and I've totally just, yeah, whatever it said.
So he kept telling us where to go. So he tells us, go to the pillars, take the third, not the fourth. If you're taking the fourth, you've gone too far, go back to the third. And we're like, okay, that makes enough sense. He goes, and then you're going to see a bunch of clouds all up in the sky, and there's going to be a bunch. Some look like bear, some look like a deer. You want the one that looks like Nessie. Go with the one that looks like Nessie and follow the curve of its tail. The curve of its tail will take you exactly where you want to go. At which point you keep going, and you're going to come across a whole bunch of just kind of like almost like stone arches in the sky, and you want to take the one that goes to the coast.
The what?
The one that goes to the coast.
The cost?
Yeah, the one that goes to the coast. Now off with you. Off. I can't help you anymore.
And, we probably should have really asked for more.
Yeah, he just kind of took off after some geese. And I went, what did he just say?
And I had no idea. I was like, close? Like the closest one?
Yeah, maybe. I think he said close.
Close seems right.
So we'll go to the one that's the closest to us when we get there.
Yeah. Okay, that's reasonable enough, assuming we can follow it. I had no idea what Nessie was.
I didn't know what Nessie was either, but it wasn't the bear or the deer, so hopefully it was the third one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned later that Nessie was a big reptile. We did not pick the right cloud.
We did not pick the right cloud in the slightest.
Or the right door.
Yeah.
So we follow it, and we kind of get our flight back on, and we make it to the third pillar. Not the fourth pillar, the third pillar. We turn at that one. We followed along. It turns out there's like 60 clouds that look like different various animals.
All sorts of different animals.
We followed the eagle. We thought maybe it was some like nickname he had for eagles, and there'd been one on his antlers.
Pets. We do that.
Yeah, nope, not the case.
Not the case at all.
And so we turn left at the eagle, which brings us to the 4 archways he's talking about of stone in the mountainside.
And the closest one
is the dark forest.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, okay, fair enough. Maybe it's a nighttime forest of dreams.
Makes sense enough to us in the time.
Yeah, we really should have kept checking what the rest of the portals had in them.
We really should have.
Because if we had, we would have seen that the 4th portal was a coast.
Yeah, and that made so much more sense.
It made so much more sense. And so, through the portal we went. And into the dark, scary forest, at which point we are absolutely certain we took a wrong turn.
Yeah, definitely. But like with the last ones, the portal behind us disappeared.
Yep. And so to the left, which is my normal preference, there's a graveyard. A legitimate graveyard.
Yep. And to the right were some whispers.
In the mist. Whispering in the mist.
Yeah, I don't know why we thought this was a dreamland at all.
And I'm like, well, we can go to disaster, we can go to disaster. Which disaster do you want to go to?
And I was like, well, you always say to go to the left because it'll always turn out right.
Like, yeah, but we're looking for something living, and there's whispering to the right.
So I let Seb pick. And I just want to say this is not my fault.
No, it's fully my fault. I take full responsibility for this. So we go follow the whispers. And we wind our way through the mist. And we find another creepy clearing. And you know what happens in creepy clearings?
We find the most horrific, surprises.
We literally find ourselves.
But not, like copies of ourselves, like staring at us in like a funhouse mirror. That would have been great.
That would have been scary, but not quite this scary.
No. This was horrifying. We found our dead and broken corpses on the floor of the forest.
Yeah, milky eyes and everything.
It's like if the shadow puppets had actually gotten their way with us.
Yeah, it would. Oh man, it's exactly what would have happened to us if the shadow puppets had won that fight.
Yeah, like that one had taken your eye. And like that one was missing its eye.
Yeah. Huh. So, then they start twitching. And like just black bile starts pouring out of their jaws. And we're standing there. And for the first time in this entire adventure, Altair says, hey, we should run.
It seemed fitting because I don't know about you, but I don't particularly want to fight my own dead body.
And I told him he wasn't allowed to.
Which was really weird and, froze me in place for a minute because I thought he'd finally cracked, quite honestly.
I kind of did. But Aga and Nagru tipped their hand a bit. I had figured something out.
It was very important.
It was super important, and I had to test it with this.
Why this? I'm not sure, but he was insistent.
Yeah, no, I told him we had to stay. We had to stay. And we did. And then our horrible corpses dragged themselves to their feet. And what did they do?
Attacked us, because,
That's what corpses do these days.
Woo!
They came launching at us, pinned us down. We started freaking out. Well, kind of. I actually wasn't freaking out at this point.
I know, it was a little unsettling role reversal. I was definitely screaming, but in my typical fashion, I was like, okay, we're fighting, I guess.
Yeah. And I watched him try and put his teeth into its jaw, and I was like, don't do that, because you're just going to get a mouthful of bile.
Which, of course, made me gag and snap my mouth right on shut.
Yep, I told him just kick it.
Which I thought was absurd, because you know what? Seb can kick something and launch it off of him, because he's giant and massive. But I'm not as strong as Seb.
I was just, laying there with this thing thrashing on top of me, threatening to bite me, and told him to kick it again. I was so over this.
He was so over this. It was very creepy and unsettling, and I was pretty sure my best friend had just lost his mind. But I kicked it.
And what happened? It went flying like a little ragdoll of bones.
Because I think it was totally a little ragdoll of bones.
Yep, and then I just kind of flung mine away too, and then they melted back into that lovely little oozy chaos thing.
Ugh.
And I was like, oh look, we didn't get killed.
Which, in the moment, I was very thrilled about, and not very sure why he was so nonplussed.
Well, I had to keep Caesar safe from the, shambly corpse thing, so I had to keep my cool in that moment. But, that's when our least favorite god, number 7 on the list,
Solid 7.
solid 7, showed back on up.
Ugh.
And he was like, hello, I see you found your own corpses. Most people, they run screaming from death, but you chose to fight it. How delightful, and maybe a little fascinating.
Which, is disconcerting. Very disconcerting. Especially, remembering that his just body turns into a mouth.
And he continued on to, remind us of something we already knew. And he was all like, well, I heard that you decided to stop listening to me and our blusterous friend Borga. So I thought to drop by and remind you what would happen if you didn't give that spirit to Mealy. It took all of the oomph out of it when you called Milanik Mealy.
It really did.
I almost started laughing.
The voice in my head was back just to try and scream at Sivo through my brain, I think.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was totally fine. So he starts in on this, ooh, fear me, I'm going to torture and kill you. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And he's like, well, you best be off then. You've got quite the trek ahead of you now.
Which, clearly we'd gone off the path.
Yeah. And so he's just like, don't forget now. Because as much fun as it would be to see Mealy get all twisted up, it'll be more fascinating to see what happens if he gets his way.
Ugh.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
So much.
And then he it's like skulls were tap dancing as he disappears. The sound.
I don't know. Does he make those himself?
Maybe.
Ugh.
At which point, a bunch of the trees, there were suddenly archways there between the branches, except we didn't have a coast anymore.
No.
We just had fire and blizzards.
Yeah.
Seeing as we were trying to avoid Milanik, we chose the blizzards.
Because, at least he was kind of cool.
Yeah. So we'll tell you what happened to that place next time. Also, I'll tell you what we learned next time. This is Altair and Seb signing off.